You're welcome back, and you're still watching Newsnight. We're live from Nigeria's capital in Abuja. There are concerns over the presidency's plans to distribute the 50,000 naira uplift grant to 100,000 families per state for 3 months. President Bola Tinubu had on Thursday approved the National Construction and Household Support Program during the National Economic Council meeting in Abuja. According to a statement issued by the presidential spokesman, Ajuri Ngelale, the program is aimed at boosting agricultural productivity, strengthening the economy, and providing immediate economic relief for Nigerian households. Ngelale adds that the program, which supported by the NEC, includes financial allocations and infrastructural projects across all geopolitical zones in the country. The program allocates 10 billion naira for bus procurement, 50,000 naira uplift grant for 100,000 families per state for 3 months, and 155 billion naira for food production. Frank Tietie, a lawyer, is here to look at this concern and what are the likely modalities the federal government may use to identify the beneficiaries. Frank Tietie is also a RISE analyst. Very warm welcome to
Thank you, my pleasure.
Newsnight. That's such a humongous amount of money. Is it back to the era of trader money, or, you know, what was the name called in the last administration again, where trillions of naira, some Nigerians who say, just wasted, gone down the drains. 50,000 for 3 months, 150,000. What economic effect can that really make in today's economic milieu?
Maybe social, psychological, in the sense that there is a growing discontentment in our country right now. There is hunger across the land. I can't speak Yoruba, but there is a slogan for it.
Yeah,
exactly. That is, we are hungry.
And your language,
and the idea is that this was a direct call to the president. So there is this perception across the entire country, especially in the rural area, that those in Abuja are ensconced in some form of luxury, and they are unconcerned about the excruciating poverty and lack of food because of growing insecurity and so many other things. Now, when the president, I believe strongly, has received reports that tensions are growing, when the people, the citizens, have a sense that, the people in Abuja now remembers them and shares money to them, it has a way of dousing tension. It may not make economic sense, but it does have a lot of political value, and it gives a sense of concern.
Are you playing politics with the stomach of the people,
yes,
with the well-being of the people? We're talking of sustainability here, not a palliative, a one-off.
If you don't do that, your people will be on the streets, and you will not have a government in place.
Are they far off the streets right now?
They're very close. And that's the reason why such kind of emergency interventions are needed. So you're not taking an economic sense, you're taking in a very pragmatic sense. That's why I support this concern by the president. However, there's a possibility that it can be counterproductive. If you think that it's a way of alleviating or of, trying to, as a form of palliative, or, to please the people, if you don't do it well, if the people have a perception that, it's another APC thing for APC people against us, or for one tribe against the other, or it's another means with which the humanitarian ministry officials enrich themselves with monies that were said to be interventionist, money for poverty alleviation, you probably will escalate what you're trying to avoid. So that's where the concern really is. So there is a whole
It's 100,000 families,
yes,
per state.
Yes.
36 plus the FCT.
Yes.
What are the determining factors to recognize this?
It will be very difficult.
Is it from the political register or from the social register?
Which the
They-
social register, the national social register, which is not yet complete. I have a friend who is leading a campaign in diaspora, Chukwemeka Esike, who is saying that, look, what is needed, because those of them in diaspora are the ones who are busy sending money home for people to eat. They're saying that all they call for is transparency. So just have a transparent process that can command the confidence of Nigerians that it is impartial and that it is indeed set for the objective of lifting people first morally, because the hunger is excruciating. Now, this is a bit more realistic, unlike the idea of trader money, which is more or less like 5,000 naira, which I found to be ridiculous, you know.
No,
But
they were given 10,000.
no, in some cases 5,000 naira before trader money. 5,000 naira and then even 10,000 naira is ridiculous. But this is, you know, because this has some measure of continuity for 3 months and a possibility, which even though the president didn't speak about it, of making it, rolling it over, now is able to douse the tension. However, what is now needed, which is clear, is that government officials cannot manage it. Who then can manage it? Government officials cannot make proper determination, because the presumed mindset of a Nigerian public official is that he organizes things into his or her pocket. So if you allow a Nigerian politician, maybe a minister, or even career public servants to handle this, there is a strong likelihood that it will be corrupted. So who are those? In fact, that caused me to interview a number of civil society leaders. So I asked them, I said, can we have a possibility of civil society leaders getting involved? And the problem is, the outcome is that civil society leadership is as corrupt as the political class.
They are not trusted anymore.
And
they are not trusted.
So we are in a situation of course, I belong to the civil society. I grew up from there. So I should be able to tell you that, yes, there is a crisis of confidence. But we cannot, on that flimsy basis, not throw away the need for transparency and confidence. Therefore, what the advice that is given to the president most strongly is that employ some professional hands. Get some consultants and let's design a process that can identify. It's clear, we know over 133 million Nigerians are living below the poverty level. So we know that we have a poverty crisis in our country. However, this must serve the objective of some political value to the president. So it's giving the impression that he does care, because some measure of paternalism is needed at times in a country like this because of the failure of not having, carried out the removal of subsidy in a holistic manner. And that's why we're faced with this crisis. So definitely the idea that an average Nigerian will have the feeling that this 50,000 naira is coming to my household because the president thinks that we should buy some staples. But again, we have a lot more bigger problems. So why? Where's the money coming from? Where's the food being grown? And
that money is going to purchase.
Of course, unfortunately, interestingly, we are a food importing country. So will that money now be lost? And then questions are being raised. Is the president sourcing the money from the monies he has borrowed? And that will be very, very, counterproductive, considering Peter Obi's kind of, economics that is anti-borrowing for consumption. So there are a lot of questions. However,
does any country borrow for consumption?
The point is this: when a country is faced with an existential problem, as we have, because I believe that the food crisis is underestimated. We are here in Abuja. We need to. You and I know how many people call us every day to send money for food. They don't ask us for big money. They don't ask us for 50,000. That's for 2,000, 1,000, 5,000. Every day I get not less than 25 calls for food around the country, even as a private practitioner. So think about, I have always known that the food crisis is underestimated by the Abuja leadership. If it is responding now, it is not out of place. That is going to give an impression that, whoa, the government is dashing you money because you're hungry. We should look at more sustainable, investment.
Social constructs.
However, we don't have the time. The luxury of the time. So we're also expecting that those construction measures that the president is taking will create some forms of jobs. And we must do everything possible to avoid capital flight. Again,
I was just going to ask that 10 billion naira worth of buses. 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 10 where would the buses come from?
It will be criminal to avoid, my friend told me about Nord. Because what we always hear is about innocent motors, but there is also not. So it will be criminal, socially criminal, I would say,
to take that 10 billion.
These companies. But again, I was talking to an American friend, Tony Daudu, who is also interested in African development. The idea is that the American economy grows because of a government that backs, that gives backing to loans. Why wouldn't our country, our president, begin to, and he spoke much of it in his campaign, part of his campaign promises, that look, there's a way we should, if you're talking about sustainability, give loans that are backed by the government. So that even when citizens fail to pay the loans, you as a bank, you're sure that the government will indemnify you. So in that case, some of these monies that are being given out could have been tied to some measure of productivity and not this sense of paternalism or, a sense of entitlement that it's our money after all, this is our share. That will create a that will be counterproductive. So the idea is this: it is important that, yes, Nigerians should get some money, but we should use the money to boost our economy. So two things: it has to create, there's need for confidence, there's need for transparency, there is need for persons to now believe that the government cares about them. And then there is also need for dignity. Each time the government shares, there's one form of sharing of noodles somewhere, people die as a result of stampedes. Please do not create the impression that Nigerians are subhuman because you want to dash them food. So please get the best of the best in terms of, you have all of the consultants around Lagos, employ them, because we can't trust government anymore.
And, trusting government, would keep the wheel of governance going, because if that, is otherwise, we know what happens, not...
let's put it in context. You can't trust government officials to manage issues of palliative. They fail time and again. And the whole thing has been, defined by corruption. It's there, it's a matter of fact. However, here's the president saying that, I want to give my people money. They're suffering. So, look, it must not be counterproductive. I imagine, as a true Nigerian, I understand that the Nigerian psyche is this: oh, they're bringing the money. The other man got because he knows somebody in Abuja. I didn't get because I didn't know anybody in Abuja. That must be avoided at all costs.
We must be asking the question: where did this idea of sharing money to Nigerians, where did it emanate from? From the world, from the Bretton Woods institutions.
Didn't President Trump share money during COVID? No. The truth about it is that, you see, look. You can't keep talking about high-sounding policies of economic restructuring, and then all it does is to, foist hardship on the people back home in the rural areas. So let some fresh air, or a breath of fresh air, come to them by saying that this is Tinubu's cash.
Okay.
But please, let it not be
some renewed hope.
Hopefully.
Thank you very much, Frank Tietie, a rights analyst and human rights lawyer, for coming to Newsnight.